Hello crafty friends, in today's video I'm going to make a card you might like to give to the engineer / mechanically minded person in your life. So I started with a bit of smooth white cardstock and my bottle of glycerin, which is very similar to embossing ink, and I drew some horizontal lines across my cardstock with the glycerin. As I dragged the nozzle across the paper, it kind of jittered and made dotty lines, which I really enjoyed, so hopefully you'll be able to see that in the close-ups. Once I'd drawn my lines, I scattered over some superfine copper embossing powder from Wow, and then I heated it with my heat tool, melting that embossing powder. Once it was cooled and set, I cut my panel down a bit to get rid of the blobby bits at the end. And then I took Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide and blended it all over the panel in a fairly mottled way. I wasn't aiming for a nice even blend because I was going to do some smushing on top, and there's no need for an even blend in that case. Next I added some faded jeans, I think it was, Distress Oxide. So I've got a teal and a blue, and I put the faded jeans on in 3 areas. I spritzed the whole thing with water and then pounced up and down on it with my smusher to get that mottled look. I then smushed some peacock feathers onto my mat, hydrated it with water, picked it up with my smusher and smushed it over the peacock feather areas on the card just to create another layer. And then once that was dry, I did the same thing with the faded jeans, smushing it over the faded jeans area. I did dry it with my hairdryer, and then I took a microfiber cloth and buffed over the embossing just to remove any ink that was sitting on top of it and dulling it down. I wanted to bring some more energy and vibrancy and some more copper onto my panel, so I spattered on some copper metallic watercolour and again dried that with my hairdryer. So that was my DIY patterned paper finished. Next I worked on my card front, and I took this zigzag die and sliced about 1/3 off of a panel of smooth white card. And I chose the zigzag because I felt it would go with the cog design that I was thinking of. I then put some 1mm deep foam tape on the back so that when I stuck it onto my card front, it would be raised up. And that's what I did next. I popped it on the front of a 4x6-ish inch card blank. And then I brought my DIY pattern paper in again and worked out how much I would need for the front of my card. I wanted to tuck the DIY paper underneath the zigzag so it was peeking out. To stick my little bit of pattern paper down, I used tape runner, so I've got a bit of difference in depth and dimension going on. And then it was time to select the cogs that I wanted to use. I started by grabbing some in the sizes and designs that I thought would work, and I placed them on my card just to make sure that they would indeed fit, and then I cut them from some matte copper cardstock. I used high-tack white glue and my glue dotter to stick the cogs down. I also snipped some of the little cogs in half and glued those down so it looks like they're coming in from the top and the side. For my sentiment, I cut a happy birthday out of that same copper foiled cardstock, and then I placed it on top of a bit more of the blue pattern paper that I'd made and cut it out so you can see that blue through the apertures in the copper die cut. I then added some glue to the back and used my T-square ruler to help me place it about 1/3 of the way down the card in the middle, overhanging the patterned paper cog area. I did put a little bit of foam tape underneath the Y to stop it sagging, but that was this card finished. I hope you like it. I hope you give it a go. If you have enjoyed the video, please do let me know in the comments and leave a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more from me, please subscribe and ring the notification bell. Right, I'll see you back here very soon. Bye for now.